forever. Some will say this video is silly. Some will question if this video needed to exist, but really at the end of the day, if there is something that I think about just a whole lot, I think about it a ton and I talk to myself about it, that's when it becomes a subject that I might as well make a video on. If it was enough to get my conversational juices flowing, enough to get that much just words and thoughts out of me, then sure. This video will also probably be made irrelevant really soon, but who cares? Fun. Topical stuff is fun. Okay, so I've already mentioned this a few times in the past, over the last several months or so, is that we don't know what Nintendo's holiday title is going to be for 2020. I've brought this up a number of times now, and for a while I was thinking, okay, it could be Pokemon, because we don't know a lot of what's coming next year, so it's like, all right, Pokemon was the holiday title for 2019. It could technically be the one for 2020 again, whatever they end up making. It didn't seem super plausible to me to have the Pokemon as the big one 2 years in a row, but it was at least possible. And we just learned with the announcement of the DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield that no, there will not be a major Pokemon title this holiday, so that is completely out. And that right there, like, I was already tempted to make a video about this, but I held back. But now that we know Pokemon is out, it's like, okay, it's speculation time, man. I gotta talk about this. What is Nintendo's big system seller game for the holidays 2020 season? And so before we get into too many possibilities, let's take a quick look at what exactly is a holiday title. Historically, what has it been? Generally, it is something with very, very wide appeal. Something that's going to sell systems. You know, it's gonna sell by the millions. Smash, Mario Kart, Pokemon, even Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing's really big. That's been a holiday title in the past. The really big system-pushing stuff, the evergreen franchises that just always sell and just kind of keep selling forever. And Nintendo hasn't always had a big holiday title for every single console, but we have seen that when they have not, it was a bad time. It happened during a very unhealthy time. The Wii U, for instance. There were 1 or 2 years in the Wii U's life where they just didn't have one. They just didn't have one. And it was a bad time. Like they would rely entirely on the Pokemon games on the 3DS, and then the Wii U was just kind of like, I don't know, but that's because the Wii U just wasn't going very well. But now that we're in the Switch era, it seems that, at least based on what they've done so far, it seems very important to them to have a good holiday title. In 2017, we had Mario. In 2018, we had Smash. In 2019, we had a big new Pokemon. So it's hard for me to believe that they're not going to want to continue that trend of having a really big hitter right at Christmas to really push systems. And also software, to push the software too. I mean, you know, their games tend to sell all year round, but if you release something big around Christmas time, it's going to be on wish lists and stuff, and that's gonna really, really propel the sales of that software very, very fast. It's going to accelerate them very much. So, for the question of what are kids going to be finding underneath the Christmas tree this Christmas, first let's look at the games that we know are coming. The games that have already been announced for the Switch and that we know are coming. Metroid Prime 4, it's worth mentioning, but I am basically 100% sure that it is not going to be done this year. And even if it were, Metroid, unfortunately, is not... It's not a holiday kind of thing. It's not very big. The fan base for Metroid is not as big as it should be. Okay, Bayonetta 3. That, I think, is actually a very, very realistic 2020 release. However, it's probably even more niche. That's definitely not a holiday title. I mean, Bayonetta is cool and everything, but I just don't think the appeal is wide enough for it to push systems. Xenoblade Remaster, same thing. That series doesn't sell a ton. It's also fairly niche, and that's not even a new game. You know, it's very exciting for people who are fans of the series, but it's probably not gonna, I don't know, really wow a bunch of people in advertisements and stuff. Basically, it's just not a thing that I could see them pushing as a holiday game. At least not all by itself. Okay, so Breath of the Wild sequel. Currently, our best bet for holiday game. It's something that we know is coming by the holidays. That'll be a year and a half after its announcement. I think that would be very cool. Yeah, yeah, pretty much the best bet at this point, at least as far as games that have already been announced go. It is still hard for me to believe that it's likely this year, just because, I mean, you know, I'm putting a lot of stock in the fact that the reveal trailer just said in development instead of saying 2020. That could have just been a small detail, and I'm putting too much faith in that, or they just didn't want to get ahead of themselves. They wanted to play it safe. So that's like the little thing that makes me doubtful, but it would follow the pattern that most Nintendo sequels tend to follow. You have end-of-year releases for the holidays, and you have closer to mid-year releases, just whatever, you know, springtime, summertime kind of thing. And if you look back at Nintendo's sequels, most of them follow the trend of one of them at the end of the year and one of them in the middle. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, the two DS Zeldas, all of those were the same way. And so that would make sense. Breath of the Wild was in March, so if they put the sequel somewhere closer to December and, you know, kind of spread out the releases to hit both areas of the year or whatever, that would follow the trend at the very least. Trends don't matter that much, but, you know, it's a thing. And forgive me if I'm forgetting something, but I feel like that's just about it for major or semi-major notable releases that we know are coming, that have been announced. I could be forgetting something, but I feel like that's just about it. We don't know a ton of what's happening later. So if it's not Breath of the Wild 2 and it's not something that we already know of, that's already been announced, then here's where I just get myself too excited. I'll completely admit. That means that we are due for a big announcement, and very soon. A big announcement is going to have a certain amount of time between it, usually more than half a year between reveal and release for a big, especially a big holiday title. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if it's not Zelda, like, Zelda's pretty much the only one that really comfortably fits into that holiday slot right now. So if it is not Zelda, it is something we don't know about. And that is very, very exciting, because that means that it would have to be revealed but well before E3. E3 is usually a little bit late for this kind of stuff. Nintendo, they like the 7 or 8 month minimum kind of thing. And that would mean if there's a Direct this month, it would be in that Direct, or if there's also a Direct in, you know, March or April, it could be in that one too. That's what they did in 2018. There was the mini Direct in January, but then I believe it was March where we got another full Direct, and that was where Smash was revealed. So, and that was perfect. That was a perfect amount of time before then and the end of the year release. So, just to get my hopes up, I'm telling myself that it could be big. And it could be soon. There could be a big, fat, juicy holiday title that is just waiting to be revealed to us very, very soon. But, again, we have to wonder, if it's not Zelda, and it is not something that's been previously announced, then what could it be? So, you know, you kind of go down the list of various options, other games that Nintendo hasn't released yet, and that's just what's weird about right now, is they released so many major franchises so fast, so early in the Switch's life, that now you're kind of just looking at either sequels to those games or the dwindling list of remaining franchises, or of course something new, but that's the thing, at least in this specific case, something new isn't super likely to make the holiday slot, because they want something that everyone that they know is gonna sell. They're not gonna like come up with a brand new IP and put it on Christmas. It's untested. So yeah, it's mostly just sequels and games that they just haven't, you know, franchises they haven't released games for yet. But that list is getting smaller. At the moment, Super Mario Odyssey 2 is looking more likely than ever, just because there are so few other options here. I mean, technically it doesn't have to be Odyssey 2 specifically. It could just be a brand new 3D Mario, but I don't know, they usually take a while between those. After 3 years, I feel like they wouldn't have something totally new. Odyssey 2 makes a lot more sense. And yeah, just because of the nature of the situation and lack of alternatives, that is seeming really likely. Like Breath of the Wild 2 or Odyssey 2, pretty much. Only slight problem is as Odyssey 2 wouldn't follow the pattern of end of year, middle of year, but of course that's a pattern that has happened. That doesn't mean it has to happen, so whatever, doesn't actually matter that much. And then like beyond that, like what else you got? Okay, you got like Pikmin 4. That's not a holiday title. Also, it's probably not coming because it'll never come. But even if it did, I hate to admit that Pikmin 4 is just not a holiday title. It's not a thing to sell Switches with. As much as I wish I lived in a world where Pikmin 4 was a blockbuster holiday title. And then what else? Okay, Mario Kart. That's generally a big holiday series, but I'm still doubtful that we're gonna get a new Mario Kart. The other one is selling so well, and then now the mobile one, the Tour, is just getting all these updates, and it kind of feels like they're comfortable where they're at. So I could be wrong, but you know, Mario Kart 9 could be a holiday title, absolutely, but I'm pretty doubtful. And then, like, what else? You got, like, WarioWare. No. It's just not big enough, but that's a thing they haven't released a thing for yet. What else have they not released things for yet? Mario and Luigi. Also, probably no. Probably not big enough, and even if it was, well, you know, what happened to Alpha Dream, the very sad state of affairs at Alpha Dream, them getting shut down. We don't even know what's going on with Mario and Luigi. Originally, I really thought one was coming, but now we have no idea, so that doesn't seem likely either. Mario Golf, Mario Party. These are decently selling games, but still not a really big, exciting thing to sell systems with. Splatoon 3, really don't see that happening. I know some people are hoping for it. I am not expecting one on this system. It just doesn't really make sense. It makes way more sense to develop it for the next Switch or next system or whatever, so I don't see that one either. Star Fox, doubtful for obvious reasons. Very, very troubled history. Something that has backfired on them a number of times, so it doesn't seem like they're going to put a lot of faith in a new Star Fox game for the holidays. Paper Mario, also just never happening, so that's definitely not it. I mean, like, in a weird world where they made a big, giant, like, put all their cards into a new Paper Mario that was the biggest, most epic thing ever, they might be able to push that as a holiday title, but that wouldn't really work without also giving us the old games for people to become fans first, so that doesn't seem likely. It's also just not gonna happen, so that's not likely either. And then, like, okay, 2D Mario. That's plausible. It's fairly plausible. It's not like the most exciting thing in the world. We just a year ago we got new Super Mario Bros. U, and we have Mario Maker 2. So it doesn't, like, after those, it doesn't seem super duper likely they would make a new 2D Mario. If they did, I would think it would have to be something very big and new for Mario. Something that you can't, an experience that you can't get in those other two games. Doesn't seem super likely, but it at least seems more plausible than most of the other games on the list of series that they haven't made games for the Switch for. So after that, it's like, what's left? Like, there's very little left. Nintendo has hit most of the major franchises already. So it's Breath of the Wild 2. That's the main idea. Or if it's not Breath of the Wild 2, it is just something else big. We just don't know what it is. I don't know what it would be. I feel like Zelda 2 or Mario 2 is the only thing I can really think of. So it's weird. It just feels like something of a conundrum. Maybe it's not a conundrum, maybe I'm right, and it just is Breath of the Wild 2, even though I didn't think it would be, because it would at least make the most sense in this scenario. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately. But hey, we might not have to wait and see for too long. We might get a Nintendo Direct here soon. Soon we will know, because if it's not Breath of the Wild, then we are either in for a very disappointing holiday or a very big surprise. I feel like those are pretty much the only three options there. We're gonna get Zelda, we're gonna get something real big announced, or it's just gonna be like, oh, I guess they just didn't want a holiday game. Okay, I don't know. Nintendo does what they want, right? If I expect them to have a big holiday game, they're probably just not gonna. They're just gonna shut off production and be like, you know, we're just not even putting anything out for the last quarter of the year. That's our new strategy for the holidays. I don't know. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. Am I making myself crazy with all this thinking and speculating and stuff, or am I onto something? Is Zelda definitely a lock, or do you have a different idea for what might potentially be Nintendo's 2020 holiday title? Let me know down in the comments, and most importantly than anything, you have a wondrous day, and I am going to PAX East. Any of you guys going to PAX East? Yeah, I got a panel on Thursday with a bunch of other cool YouTubers. Look, just wait for more info. I'll tweet about it. It'll go on the website. But I'm going to PAX East. Hope to see you guys there. I'm going to be there every day, probably. Just letting you know. Just letting you know that's coming up. Go to PAX East. I'll see you there. Bye.